Those giant plant eaters, like Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus, were basically walking, eating machines. Their whole life was just wake up, eat plants, walk a bit, eat more plants, maybe drink water, then eat even more plants. No rush, no stress. They had to eat constantly because being that big requires a ton of fuel. It sounds cool to be gigantic, but honestly, it was probably exhausting. Meanwhile, the carnivores like Allosaurus were out here trying to survive too. They weren't constantly attacking stuff, like movies make it seem. Most of the time, they were probably just chilling, conserving energy, and waiting for the right moment to get food. Hunting was risky, and getting injured could mean game over. So even the scary dinosaurs were mostly just trying not to mess things up. Around this time, the planet itself started changing too. Pangea slowly began breaking apart, which eventually turned into the continents we know today. This happened over millions of years, so dinosaurs didn't notice anything weird. From their perspective, nothing dramatic was going on. Mountains formed, oceans expanded, climates shifted, but all at a pace so slow it might as well have been background noise. Then, during the Cretaceous period, things got even more interesting, but still pretty chill by dinosaur standards. Flowering plants finally showed up, which was a big deal for ecosystems, even though it took forever for them to really spread. Dinosaurs adapted like they always did, without thinking twice about it. New species popped up with horns, armor, spikes, and weird shapes, but again, to them it was just normal life. This is also when Tyrannosaurus rex showed up, probably the most famous dinosaur of all time. And yeah, it was big and strong, and had massive teeth. But even it wasn't out there causing chaos 24/7. It probably spent most of its time walking around, resting, maybe scavenging, and occasionally hunting when it had to. Like every other animal, it needed food, water, and rest. And it wasn't trying to waste energy for no reason. Dinosaurs didn't build anything, didn't write anything down, didn't have culture or technology. Their lives were simple and repetitive. Eat, sleep, day after day, year after year, million after million. No one was keeping score or thinking about the future. They just existed. Eventually, though, things went south. At the end of the Cretaceous period, a massive extinction event hit. Most scientists think it was caused by the giant asteroid slamming into Earth. Impact messed everything up, dust in the air, sunlight blocked out, temperatures dropping, plants dying off. Once plants started disappearing, plant-eating dinosaurs were in trouble. And when they were in trouble, metators were too. The whole food chain basically collapsed. As flowering plants became more common, dinosaurs adapted their diets. Some began eating these new plants, others ignored them. This change happened gradually and without disruption. No dinosaur celebrated the arrival of flowers. Predator-prey relationships remained consistent. Predators hunted when necessary. Prey avoided danger when possible. Injuries happened. Death happened. None of this was unusual. Dinosaurs did not form civilizations. They did not invent tools beyond their bodies. Claws, teeth, and size were enough. This limited the complexity of their societies and kept their lives simple. Time continued passing. Millions of years went by. Entire species rose and disappeared without leaving much trace beyond bones. The Earth kept changing slowly, and dinosaurs continued living until they didn't. When the extinction event finally approached, there was no warning system. Dinosaurs did not know what was coming. The changes to the environment happened faster than usual, but still not in a way that created a story or narrative for them. It was just a series of increasingly difficult conditions. Plants died. Food became scarce. Dinosaurs struggled. One by one, species disappeared. This was not dramatic in a storytelling sense. It was gradual and uneven. Eventually, most non-avian dinosaurs were gone. Their long history ended quietly. The planet moved on, as it always does. Afterward, small mammals filled some of the empty ecological spaces. This happened slowly. Life did not rush to replace dinosaurs. It took millions more years. Long after that, humans appeared. Humans later found dinosaur fossils and tried to piece together what happened, because dinosaurs left no stories of their own. Humans filled in the gaps with research and speculation. Museums were built. Textbooks were written. Dinosaurs became famous long after they stopped existing. Ironically, their real lives were far less exciting than their reputation. Most of dinosaur history was routine. Most days were the same. Most lives were simple. That is why their history, while important, this boring repetition went on for millions of years, making dinosaurs one of the longest but least eventful dominant animal groups in Earth's history. After dinosaurs had already been living on Earth for a very long time, they continued to do what they had always done, which was mostly nothing special. Each day was similar to the one before it. A dinosaur would wake up, if waking up is even the right word, and then it would begin the process of finding food. If it was a plant-eating dinosaur, this meant slowly walking to plants and eating them. If it was a meat-eating dinosaur, this meant walking around and waiting for an opportunity to eat something, which did not always happen quickly, because dinosaurs lived for millions of years. The idea of time was very different for them than it is for humans. There were no calendars, no clocks, and no sense of deadlines. Seasons changed slowly, and even those changes were not very dramatic in many places. Dinosaurs adapted to their environments as they always had, without thinking about it. This made their history very long but not very interesting on a daily basis. As generations of dinosaurs lived and died, small changes occurred. These changes were the result of evolution, but they happened so slowly that no single dinosaur ever noticed anything unusual. A slightly longer tooth here, a slightly thicker skin there. Over time, these small changes added up. But at no point did a dinosaur suddenly realize it was part of history. Many dinosaurs lived in herds. These herds moved together from place to place, often following food or water. Herd movement was slow and predictable. There were no sudden adventures, just steady walking and occasional stopping. When danger appeared, the herd might react, but afterward, life returned to normal. This pattern repeated itself countless times. Other dinosaurs lived more solitary lives. These dinosaurs spent most of their time alone. They walked, rested. This did not make their lives more interesting. In fact, it likely made them even quieter and more repetitive. Dinosaurs lived on Earth for a very long time, and most of that time passed without anything especially interesting happening on a daily basis. Their existence stretched across millions of years, during which they occupied the land, walked across familiar terrain, and followed repetitive patterns of survival. From the earliest dinosaurs to the last non-avian species, their lives were defined by routine actions such as eating, resting, moving short distances, and responding to environmental conditions in simple ways. These activities did not change significantly for long periods, making the overall history of dinosaurs lengthy but monotonous. The earliest dinosaurs appeared during the Triassic period, a time when the Earth was recovering from a large extinction event. The environment was relatively harsh, and many animals were attempting to survive in newly available ecological spaces. Early dinosaurs were not dominant or particularly impressive. They were small to medium in size and lived alongside many other reptiles. They did not immediately rise to prominence, and for a long time they remained just one group among many. Their daily activities involved basic survival, including finding food, without any notable developments. The land during this time was largely connected into one large supercontinent known as Pangea. This meant that animals could travel across wide areas of land without encountering oceans. However, movement across land was slow and unremarkable. Dinosaurs did not migrate with purpose or intention beyond locating food and water. Their movement followed instinct rather than planning, and most of it occurred within familiar ranges. Vegetation during the Triassic period consisted mostly of ferns, conifers, and other non-flowering plants. These plants grew slowly and predictably, providing consistent food sources for herbivorous dinosaurs. Carnivorous dinosaurs relied on smaller animals, which were also abundant and followed repetitive life cycles. As a result, predator-prey relationships were stable and unchanging for long periods. As the Triassic period transitioned into the Jurassic period, dinosaurs gradually became more common. This shift occurred slowly, without any dramatic turning points over many generations. Dinosaurs adapted slightly better to their environments than competing animals, which allowed them to survive and reproduce more consistently. These changes were incremental and unnoticed by the animals themselves. Large carnivorous dinosaurs, including species such as Tyrannosaurus rex, appeared during the late Cretaceous period. Despite their size and strength, these dinosaurs also lived repetitive lives. They were not constantly active and likely spent much of their time resting. Their large bodies required energy conservation, which limited unnecessary movement. Dinosaurs did not engage in complex social behaviors comparable to human societies. While some species lived in groups, these groups existed for protection or feeding, efficiency rather than social interaction. There was no culture, no communication beyond basic signals, and no accumulation of shared knowledge across generations. Reproduction among dinosaurs followed basic biological processes. Eggs were laid in nests, sometimes guarded, sometimes not. Many eggs failed to hatch, and many young dinosaurs did not survive to adulthood. This was common and expected. There was no long-term care or planning beyond immediate survival. Throughout the dinosaur era, volcanic activity occurred in various regions. Lava flows and ash deposits sometimes altered local environments. In response, dinosaurs either moved away or adapted. These events were disruptive, locally, but did not change the overall pattern of dinosaur life. Once conditions stabilized, routines resumed. Weather patterns during the Mesozoic era were relatively consistent. Rainfall, temperature, and seasonal variation followed predictable cycles. Dinosaurs responded instinctively, seeking shelter or water as needed. These responses were automatic and did not involve learning or memory. Beyond simple survival instincts, as millions of years passed, species evolved and changed. Some became more specialized, while others remained generalists. Evolution occurred through small genetic changes across generations, not through sudden transformation. No individual dinosaur experienced evolution directly, making the process invisible to those living through it. Eventually, environmental conditions began to shift more rapidly. Geological and atmospheric changes, combined with an asteroid impact, altered the Earth's climate. These changes disrupted food chains and reduced available resources. Dinosaurs struggled to adapt quickly enough. Plant populations declined due to reduced sunlight and changing temperatures. Herbivorous dinosaurs faced food shortages, leading to population decline. Carnivorous dinosaurs followed shortly after, as prey became scarce. Extinction occurred unevenly, with some species disappearing earlier than others. The extinction of non-avian dinosaurs marked the end of their long dominance. This process was not dramatic for the dinosaurs themselves. It occurred gradually, without awareness or understanding. After dinosaurs disappeared, mammals slowly expanded into available ecological niches. This transition took millions of years and did not result in immediate change. Early mammals were small and lived in the background of ecosystems. Their lives were also repetitive. The Earth continued to change slowly. Continents moved further apart, climates shifted, and ecosystems adjusted. Life persisted in new forms, following the same basic patterns of survival that had existed before. Much later, humans appeared and began studying fossils. Through careful observation and scientific analysis, humans reconstructed the history of dinosaurs. This reconstruction relied on physical evidence rather than stories or records, as dinosaurs left no written history. Despite their popularity in media, the actual lives of dinosaurs were largely uneventful. Their long history consisted of routine behaviors repeated across vast spans of time. This repetition defined their success and longevity. In conclusion, dinosaur history is notable for its length rather than its excitement. For millions of years, dinosaurs lived ordinary lives shaped by instinct, environment, and gradual change. Their story is one of persistence, adaptation, and repetition, marked by long periods of stability and a quiet end.